You deserve a photo shoot every hour. It's your hour. Camera, lights, flash.
Click, strike up, pose.
Oh, swag, drippy, click, strike up, pose.
Hello, our Rangers. Whoop whoop. Season 2 things. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Her Hour. That's what's up. Look at us going.
Well, it's really Episode 2.
Yeah,
The third one.
Yeah, it's the third episode that we've released,
Right.
but it's technically the second official episode.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, my name is Vera. I'm one of the co-hosts, and I'm joined by my favorite human.
I forgot my name. I'm joking. My name is Jordan, if you don't know by now. But if you did, then you're a real one.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So today we're going to be talking about family dynamics. I'm really excited about this topic. I think there's so much that goes into it, and we're joined by two amazing guests. This year has just been the best because we keep getting fire, bomb, awesome, goals.
Pressure.
We keep having the best guests ever.
We love that. Put the pressure, sis.
Yes, pressure. This is so that the next guests also feel pressure. Anyway, so we have an amazing guest joining us today from Wired to Love, yes?
To love and thrive.
To Love and Thrive, yes. Wired to Love and Thrive. Thank you so much. And I think I'm going to start to my right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi guys, my name is Takunda Eronchimutashu, also known as Zen the Master. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. And yes.
And hey guys, my name is Coach Royalty, the one and only.
Wow.
But part of the Wired to Love and Thrive tribe, which is basically an initiative we started for wellness. Mental wellness was the initial idea. Then it grew to a wholesome wellness because we realized there was no space for people, particularly when it comes to issues to do with mental health, and everything involved. So that's what we are, Wired to Love and Thrive. And I'm glad to be sitting next to these two beautiful women and the gentleman.
Thanks for coming. No.
She didn't forget you. But thank you so much for joining
Thank you
us.
for coming. Did you feel left out? You can also be beautiful.
Exactly.
To
This
look
is what I
beautiful
was
back.
expecting.
Like, these three
Gentlemen.
beautiful people, but it's okay.
Yes. I like to say beautiful souls. That way it's souls don't have gender.
Right, they don't.
Exactly.
So I'm joined with these amazing souls.
Amazing
today.
souls.
Yes. So as you all know, it's Christmas time. We're getting closer to Christmas time, actually, holiday season,
Right.
where we're I don't know if it's forced to or willingly with our families. And I think this is really a crazy time of the year where
I can't believe you said forced to. Oh my
and
God.
some no. I think we can all admit that when you get to a certain age, it's by force.
Yes.
Being with your family over certain holidays, it's not a choice. It's that, okay, because it's Christmas, I have to be with my family. You can't do a hangout like, so okay, as friends, let's have like a Christmas get together. No, it's I have to be with my parents. If I have a workmate the other day who was saying, if I go to my sister's place, I'm gonna have to, because her sister's married. She's like, I'd have to go to the sister's in-laws place and I have to do the whole kufugama and whatever. And she's like, I'm not about that life. So I'd rather find friends who I can hang out with. So yes, forced with is also another thing. Though yes, there's also those who are willingly with their families because we love our families too. So we just thought
I'm joking.
we just thought it would be a great opportunity for us to just talk about family dynamics. We actually saw a tweet, which is going to be on the screen right now.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere on the screen.
Somewhere.
And we saw this tweet where it said, parents can't be toxic. And that kind of sparked a whole debate on Twitter. As we all know, Twitter is just like the spot to trigger people and start conversations. So I just found that very interesting, and I just wanted to find out maybe what we can start off with is if each of us kind of talk about our family dynamic in terms of like the setup, like the what you call it, the formal kind of family dynamic, and then your chosen family dynamic. Yeah, so we'll start off with you.
I don't think we should though. Sorry, because men have been taking first place. So,
sorry.
real men, haven't you heard this before? Real men finish last.
Oh.
Wow.
So sorry.
My word. Okay, so my family set up as the typical nuclear family.
Yep.
According to society. It's the ideal family where I've got both my parents alive, my mom, my dad, who are both pastors. So yes, I'm a PK, and yes, you can start judging me after saying the statement. And I've got 4 siblings, 3 brothers, 2 older, 1 younger, and 1 sister. And my chosen family are the pastor's kids, and my colleagues in the media fraternity. My chosen family will be the pastor's kids, because in a way, you know how PKs, I'm sure they can relate. If they're watching this, they can relate that there's just so much going on for us. So that they make you the celebrity, and then just the pressure of you being an angel. But really, we've got blood, guys, in our veins there, and then the arteries and cells like everyone else. So we're not angels. So being with them makes me be me. I can be who I want to be, and there's no judging. There's nothing. Even if we're to stop each other, which I know, blaz. This is a bit much, but there's no judging. You get it, like from the church, from the rest of even people who don't know you. The moment someone says to me, I have my friends who I've always told, don't you dare mention my parents' job.
Yeah.
You know, like then Jordan says to her friends, oh, this is coach, she's a pastor's daughter. I'm like, nobody says your dad is a CEO or director. Thank you.
Right.
So how about we just live our lives? Nobody mentions their parents' job, and that's it. So those guys, my family of fellow pastors' kids will be my chosen family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jordan. My darling.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I can relate a lot, because my parents were also, both my parents were pastors, and now my dad is only a pastor.
Okay.
So I also come from a very like religious?
Religious?
expectation-filled background. I went to a school that had it was a church school, so the school was at the church. We've basically spoken about this before. So yeah, we grew up with that thing of people expecting you to be a certain way, and your parents expecting you to be a certain way, and just like so many expectations. And so because I'm trans and I have my own experience, it wasn't something that my parents were ready to deal with, and I've always just been someone who stood out and was just different in every single way, and my parents didn't know how to deal with that, I guess, because they were used to having normal kids. And then I came along and I was like the black sheep, and I just had all these.
And then you went the
black
and then they were like, Lord, what have you done?
Right.
You weren't the black sheep, you were the unicorn.
Right. And then they had, you know what? It was also this thing that they didn't think they were ever going to have me. And when my mom was told that she couldn't have kids anymore, and then I happened.
Exactly.
And then so they were just like so excited about this child that they were going to have. And then I just turned into
Bang.
me.
No, but you had to show up though. Like you were a miracle baby, so you had to show up.
Exactly. I had to come and claim my flowers.
Yes, and your space.
Right.
Yes.
And be like, hey, yo, I'm
Fine.
here.
I'm the one shutting down the show. Now no more babies. I can officially be the last one.
Exactly. So yeah, it was crazy. It was a bit, obviously, I think I'll say it was a lot toxic, not a bit. There was a lot of toxic moments growing up. I think my parents were my first exposure to toxicity. Unfortunately, but it's just the way things are, you know. I can't say that they wanted to be like that, but that's just how it was. And then in terms of my chosen family, that's a hard one. It's really hard for me to call anyone family, because I don't even believe in the idea of family. I think it's a social construct, and I think it's something that we perpetuate to create this idea of belonging, and it's a tribal thing, and tribes create tribalism and separation and segregation. So I wouldn't say I have a chosen family. I think I have chosen people who I think create up my support system. So that's what I'll call it, my support system. And they are different people. Many different people, older people, younger people. I think even my little niece who's turning 2 is like part of my support system, because she just gives me so much life.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, my family situation, both my parents are alive, divorced, and I'm the last born of a family of 3. 4. I have sorry,
Whoever
must-
you were,
I
you were
left-
forgotten.
I left myself out of that equation. So it's my older
Charlie,
I've got-
I'm joking.
Yeah. I've got an older brother and 2 older sisters, and then I'm the baby of the family. Yeah, that's my blood family. And then I think my chosen family would have to be my friends from high school.
Dude.
They literally, we do everything together. We
I don't
pray
like nobody from high school.
We plan for things together. We like give each other advice. We judge each other. We get angry at each other. We make up again. Like they're literally like, yeah, my family. I've got my girls that through thick and thin. Like it is what it is. And yeah, I think that's definitely my chosen family.
Dope. All right.
And now the man, I'm joking.
I am the youngest in a family of 2. I was raised by my mom. My father died when I was 5 years old. I also have a little niece. Absolutely adore her.
How old is
She is one. Let's call it 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my chosen family, my roommates, the people that I live with, we sort of came together, started a bunch of companies together, and now we work together. Yeah.
Get that bang.
And I have a second chosen family. I've never mentioned them before, but you guys have made me feel so comfortable. Thank you so much. My second chosen family is the BDSM community.
Oh my god!
Those are my
so
people.
exciting!
Those are people that I love.
Guys, I've never met someone who like is into BDSM in this country. No, I never speak about this because I'm so into BDSM and no one is into BDSM. I never have these conversations because everyone is like, you just like being abused, or you just so like yeah.
That's
I'm just gonna
really
leave
I
my
faced
rant
so
there.
much of that. Yeah. But yeah, those are my families.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go. I think kind of directing this mostly to like Jordan and you as well, because you guys came from like a pastor kind of background, and I feel like a lot of times, no offense to pastors, I am a religious person. I respect your calling. I respect everything that you do, but I feel that pastors as parents can be toxic. This is just like, and it's not even like a situation where like, oh, because your child is a part of like a minority community. Now you can be a normal kid, but still there's so much pressure being a PK, and that pressure mostly comes in from your parents being like, oh, you have to be like this. You can't wear a short dress. You can't be seen in the club. You can't be seen with boys. You can't be seen with girls. Like, you know, there's so many restrictions. I don't know, like that's just how I see it from the outside looking in.
How do we define toxicity exactly? Like how do we know somebody's being
I think
toxic?
suppressing the person's identity, suppressing who someone is, suppressing expression, suppressing. I think it's oppression and suppression. That's what it is. Toxicity, I think, are also just abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And the idea of like she mentioned, oppression, whereby you're trying to enforce.
Like imposing.
Yeah,
yourself.
if your idea of a relationship is girl, boy, or male, female, that's what you want your child to be. Or,
Right.
you know, that's what you want the whole world to be like.
Right.
If your idea is black and white, okay, not brown and pink or green and purple. You want everything to be black and white. It can't be brown and pink or green and yellow. Then you're being toxic. Like, why should the world be about
Right.
what you think?
Right.
Can it be about what everyone thinks and we just live together?
And I think also not allowing room for error. I think that can also be very toxic. I think as humans, we're naturally made to make mistakes so that we can learn from the mistakes that we make. And I think sometimes it can be so toxic where you're so afraid to slip up, to make a mistake because of the repercussions of that action.
True.
And I think sometimes when it gets to the point where, you know, someone can have like a full-blown anxiety attack because they're like a minute late after curfew. And you're like, dude, it's not that deep. Like, you had a good reason why. You know, like when it, like within reason, like, okay, like respect your parents, but like when it comes to a point where you fear someone so much, like, oh my gosh, I can't mess up. Oh my gosh, I can't.
Like, you can't pick up your phone. And
Yeah, you can't pick up your phone. You can't, like, you get 90% on a test and you're like, oh my God, I failed. My parents are like, I need to, you know, Japanese samurai kill myself. Or, do you get it? Like, when it gets to the point where there's so much fear where you can't even be human with people, I think that's also like toxic.
Yeah.
So yes, back to
The PKs.
the PKs.
Well, I think for me, my personal experience was my parents were not toxic. I think growing up, even when I was a child, I know I was the most energetic of my mother's kids.
Yeah.
And yes, newsflash, I didn't go to preschool. I did first grade at 5 because my mom was like, you know what? I think she just needed me out of her house, out of her hair. Like, she's just like, so there was a lady who used to sell candy, and she's like, no, please don't give this kid no candy, even if she comes with so much money, because I can't deal with her energy. So I think there was that other mark that left me from everyone else. Yeah. So my parents, I think they accepted who I was. You know, the loud kid, the energetic one who runs. And surprisingly, I never had friends, hey? Like, you know, I don't really have like childhood friends.
Same.
I was that child who I could do with my coloring book and my Power Rangers and my mom singing in the background, and it was a good time. So my parents accepted who I was, the loud one, the one who says no, the one who can just do this to your head when you're talking to her, and you get so angry you want to smack her, but then you're like, okay, she's my blood, I can't kill her, you know. So as I grew,
Cute.
I suffered from depression and anxiety in my teenage life because boarding school, you know, high school is the worst, you know, it can be very, it can kill you. So I think for that part of my life, that's when I also realized, the relationship between me and my parents. So my parents being pastors, I tried to take my own life twice, but they only know about the one time I tried to do it because I then ended up in the hospital. I won't get into the details of how I did it because it's not a manual. But yeah, so that experience for me, you can imagine the stigma generally of suicide and depression. So now imagine the pastors, the PK doing it. So I remember going back home and all I wanted was for someone to say, baby, what's wrong, or are you okay, or something like what happened, you get it, to start the conversation. But the conversation was about the new school, which school I was going to, you get it. And then I remember my mom bringing her friend or a colleague, I don't know if they were friends or they're just colleagues in the vineyard, who then says to me, are you filled with the Holy Spirit? And then I'm like,
Hold the phone.
please, hold up. What conversation are we having? You know? And they're just like, I'm sorry, I'm not having this. Then I went into my room and that was it. So I think my parents didn't give me the pressure, but on my dad's side, I think he felt the pressure. You get it? Of people saying, so where's your daughter learning? What is she doing? And when I chose my program to do in college, I didn't ask nobody's advice or nobody's go ahead. I was like, I'm doing media, I'm doing journalism. So yeah, this is the fees I apply. This is what happens if you want to get into that school. Let's do this. Please, yeah, my parents, make it happen. I didn't care about being a lawyer, nor doctor, nor accountant, and even an engineer, all that pressure. And my dad was like, oh, okay. That's fine. So for me, the pressure was not really there, but I felt the church, not my family.
Yeah.
The church did give me the pressure, and my sister. I remember my mom when they were transferred to Chinhoyi. So she was introducing her family. Like, this is my first son is not here. This is my daughter. She's the second born, my son. And she got to me. Like, so this is my fourth child. Sometimes she acts like a guy, and you probably see her in short shorts and everything. But that's it. She's just a normal human being. So if you want to have a conversation, feel free to talk to her and everything. So the more my mom accepted my attitude, my personality, which is overwhelming sometimes, the more even the people around her got to appreciate who I was, and they would not judge me because they'll be like, I'm with my mom and I'm in short shorts. You get it? They'll visit the pastor and the daughter is in short shorts or in a short dress and everything. So they really didn't mind. And my mom would never be the pastor who's like, no, my daughters don't do that, because my mom was like, when you people do your own thing and I'm preaching, like, no, my daughter don't do that yet. But then you know what your people know what you've been up to. So my family didn't give me no pressure except my sister. I know growing up she just felt like I was just wrong. You know, probably thought I was retarded, or I just didn't listen, or something. There was something wrong with me, because she wanted me to be like her, because she was reserved and everything. But I was like, a sweetie, there's so much energy in me. I'm not putting it in a closet. I'm sorry. I'm giving it to the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my experience. My family were not really toxic. and even my siblings, my other brother would just like, Dad, you're late. Like if my parents are home and I'm late, it's like, Dad, you're late. Not that whole, where are you? You're a girl. It's 9:00.
Yeah.
You know how brothers are in families
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
But
yeah.
my other brother was like, no, fam. I'm just telling you, you're late and your dad is trolling around the house, so I don't know what you're gonna do. So for me, it wasn't really toxic. They accepted me and let me be me. It's the church and the society that gave me the pressure, not necessarily my parents or my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jordan,
Oh
tell
my
us.
gosh.
PK number 2.
I don't know. You've given me so much perspective in saying what you said. I think for a really long time, I used to say that it was them who were like putting this pressure on themselves to be the certain way. But I understand that they obviously like were in a situation where they had expectations on them. So those expectations that were being projected onto them only naturally became something that they projected onto us. And so I think it's unfortunate that I didn't see it like that until like right now, which is sad. It also makes me feel really stupid because I'm like, what? But yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't even know how to approach this now. You've like blown my mind in such a weird way. Yeah, I think that they just had their own expectations of like I said already, they had expectations. And so they just wanted the best for me, I guess, but that they didn't know how to deal with the fact that I was like someone that was different. Like I said earlier on, I will say that I think they were toxic to a certain extent because they were oppressive to me. But I don't think that they thought they were being oppressive, you know. I think that they thought that they were doing what was right in order to guide their child. You know how the Bible says, like, train up your child in the way that they should go, whatever. Exactly. And so that's probably what they thought that they were doing. But, you know, we're not all the same, and you can't have this, there's no formula to raising a child. And so you can't follow the same things that you've been doing, you know, with the rest of your children. So I have three
that's
siblings.
another thing that I think families and parents need to understand, that children are different.
Right.
You know, there's a child, Jordan will be the child that you need to sit down and say, you know what, sweetie, we don't shout at each other. Then the child that say, yo, what the hell did you do?
Right.
You get it.
Right.
So I think there's another dynamic
Even like
that
in terms
families
of
need
like
to
expectations.
need to listen to.
like,
That the first child is different from the last.
Yeah.
So many ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Even like in terms of like expectations, I think sometimes you'll have the first kid who's like a super smart, like top A student. Then you have the second kid who maybe isn't so like science, you know, oriented, and they're like the artsy child. Then you have the other child who's just like in the middle, where you're not really sure like how they function. And then because our first child was a scientist, all of the babies need to be scientists.
Right.
And you put all of these unnecessary expectations on all of the kids. Like, we're painting them all with the same brush. That, okay, this is the system we've chosen, and this is the system we're going to use. Whether it works, like, it has to work. There's no deviating from this life plan on how to raise our kids. Anyway, continue.
Right. So I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, I have 3 siblings.
Yeah.
So, and they're all older than me. I'm the youngest. So yeah, they just expected me to be like my siblings, and all my siblings are like way older than not way older than me. My oldest sibling is 12 years older than me.
Okay.
And they're 6 years older than me, and then it's 3 years, and then it's me. So yeah, they had already had so many kids to experience, and I think that they thought that they had it on lock, you know.
So we got this.
Right.
And boom.
Right?
Exactly. And then I came into the equation, and like from when I was a kid, people always used to ask, like, why does Jordan walk like that or talk like that? Like, what is wrong with your kid? Like, why does Jordan act like a girl? Or, like, why does... And I say act like a girl because what does a girl act like? Or what does a boy act like, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was always just like this thing of like, why is your kid so different? And I don't think that I didn't experience what they experienced from outside influences. You know, obviously people are going to be in their ear
Yeah.
saying, oh, something's wrong with your kid or something, you had a faulty kid or whatever. Yes.
Wow.
Oh man, I just literally saw like system error, like in the factory. Well, nah, I don't wanna know.
You know the kid that
You don't know how
in the
people talk
factory.
out there.
But that is true. Like, and that's what's so
Exactly.
Yeah, people
scary
say
about
all
it.
the
That's what
worst
they
things.
say. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm not gonna like censor it and sanitize it and make it sound like that's how people are.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
especially in a family situation, I come from like a mixed family.
yeah.
So one side of my family is very Shona and like it's black, and then the other side is like mixed. I'll say mixed because I don't like the term colored, because I think that's a
all
conversation
colours,
of its own.
For another day.
Right. So it's very mixed. So there was already that thing of my mom married a black man, and so they were like, why are you marrying this man? What? So now they have this kid. She has this kid from this black man, and this kid is faulty, and now it's like,
So there's a whole thing.
dog, what is wrong with your kid?
We told
What is
you
wrong
to
with
marry this black man.
Right. So, yeah, no.
Oh.
So I think I spent a lot of my childhood being conditioned by my dad to act a certain way. He wanted me to be like my brother. And I say that because, yeah, obviously I'm trans, so I grew up with them expecting me to develop into something else that I am not today. So there was that conditioning, like constantly being told, you have to talk like this, you have to act like this, you have to be like this, you can't do this, you can't speak like this, you can't hang out with these people, you can't go to these places, you can't like these things, you can't, So it was constantly hearing, oh my gosh, I can't do all these things. Like, so what can I do? What
Just
can I
breathe.
do? So it taught me to actually not want to do these things. It taught me how to be covert and to live a secret life and to become someone who is secretive and doesn't share anything with anyone. It taught me to play the system in a sense where I could pass when I needed to pass for the people who I needed to pass for. But when I was by myself, I was doing all those things that I was told I shouldn't do. That's why I thought it was cool for me to be having sex when I was 12 years old with someone who was 17. Because I thought, oh no, I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I'm going to
do it.
See?
So I was hanging out with all the people, I had a boyfriend when I was 15 and he was 26 years old. And I thought that, no, this
We need
is
to find that guy. We need to find that guy.
Literally,
Find
I
him.
thought that I was like, it just, and nobody knew about this because I didn't ever speak to anyone. No one in my family knew all the things that I used to go through. Like people at church putting my head in a toilet and saying you're a fag or you're all these things, or and like bullying and all the stuff. I just kept it to myself because if I always felt like if I go to them, I'm gonna get shouted at because then they're gonna say, so why were you walking like that, or why were you talking like that, or why did you do that for these people to end up doing this to you? So it became a situation of I'd rather just deal with things on my own. And I think that's the thing that I had was I felt like they would preach at me. And because they're pastors, I'm not part of your congregation. Like, I'm your child. I'm not here to, if I come to you with a problem, I'm not expecting you to preach at me and pull out Bible verses and reference and be like, oh yes, what, let me pray for you. Great, you can pray for me in your own time, but don't now treat me like you're
Congregant.
like I'm a congregant, exactly. Because then I'm also going to create that idea in my head that, oh, you can't separate
church from state.
Right. So yeah, it was sad. It was very, very sad, I think. Yeah, like I said, as I got older, it just got worse and worse because I just created a box where I could be myself. And unfortunately, I'm the kind of person where I can't live two lives. I just can't. I can't be inconsistent. Consistency is something that I value, and I can't respect people who live double lives because, well, I understand it. I understand it because I was there. I've been there. I know what it's like. But at the same time, I feel like we should live authentically. As hard as it's easier said than done, but I got to a point where I just began to demand my identity. Like, I'm going to be this person. Because at the same time, my parents also taught me all these things. They instilled all these things on me, like, don't be a rebel without a cause. Don't be someone who is, follow a follower. Don't be someone who is led by the pack. Be the leader of the pack. Be someone who is innovative. Be a change maker. Be, a leader. Be a world changer. Like all these things were installed in me. And then when I started doing those things,
It
they
became
were
a
like,
problem.
is that our child? And I'm like, no, you taught me. I learned from you.
Double standards,
So,
basically.
right. So yeah, it was toxic, but I also learned a whole lot from them. I also learned how to depend on myself from them and not have to rely on other people. So I think that's a win.
Okay. Zen master.
Zen the master.
Oh, Zen the master. Okay.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
I'm gonna do this every time. Zen the master.
I had the privilege of being raised by a super mom because,
Yes.
as you know, when my father died, there was a lot that she had to start handling. She had two boys, and that whole social idea that a woman doesn't know how to raise men, or a man doesn't know how to raise women.
Yeah.
Right. So she had to fight her best, to make sure that I became the best person that I possibly could be. And there's plenty of examples I can think of where she had to step way out of her comfort zone for my sake.
Yeah.
And her being a supermom meant that she had to deal with a lot of things. We had, in 2008, with the whole country's financial situation just turned upside down, we became homeless. And she had to find a place for me to live. So she had to split the entire family up. She had to go live somewhere. She threw me to some of her other friends. She threw my brother to her other friends.
Yeah.
And eventually she threw us to the village. She didn't have a choice. And
Yeah.
that entire time she felt completely alone. And she was trying to make sure that I never felt alone. And I grew up constantly being told, you can be anything, you can do anything, don't ever tell yourself that you can't do anything. And she constantly showed me that that was possible. Because she loves to say this. She loves to say she was both my mother and my father.
Yes.
And the one day that I really, really remember that stands out was when she finally managed to get us a room. We lived in like one room, me, her, and my brother. And we were sleeping. And I had my first wet dream.
Oh my God.
Right?
You have to deal this with your mom. Oh my God.
So I wake up.
The face.
It's uncomfortable. So I wake up and I look down. Obviously, because of our terrible sex education in Zimbabwe, I had an idea of what had happened. I was like, oh, so this is a wet dream. Then she woke up and she saw it. So I was mortified. So I just ran out, changed, bathed, did all of that. Then I came back like nothing had happened. And then she sat me down and she gave me the talk. She's like, you're a man now, don't worry about it. This thing is normal. It's okay. Don't be embarrassed. All right. I'm your mother. You already came from me. So what are you embarrassed about? All of this stuff. So I grew up with a person who stood there and was literally everything. And then she looked at me and she said, you can be everything. So in my mind,
Your mom is everything.
She's gold.
Right?
Wow.
so in my mind, I never had any doubts. And any time that she made a misstep, I won't say I always understood, but now as a grown-up, I can see, looking back, that it wasn't a misstep on purpose. It's because she had so much going on, So a lot of my personality is this standalone person who doesn't like to depend on people. I don't like to lean on people. And that's because since my mother was always so busy, she's trying to make money, she's trying to take care of my mother, she's trying to take care of all these things. Plus, she's the matriarch of the family because she's the eldest of 6 children. She's trying to take care of all those people as well. She's trying to take care of her parents because they're older.
Yeah.
I usually had to, try and look out for myself and try and take care of myself as well. And yeah, I felt really privileged to have a mother like that. Eventually, when I told her some of the mental issues I have obsessive compulsive disorder, clinically diagnosed. I have also PTSD. When I told her about these things, I think about a year ago, her response just completely shook me. First, she said she had no idea. She didn't see any of the signs, even though they were very, very obvious. I had tics, all of these things that were very external. And sometimes she'd see them and be like, don't do that. She had no idea what was going on in here. When she found out that that's what was happening, the first thing she did was make sure that I got therapy. And then after a couple of months of me going to therapy, she then followed and started doing therapy as well so that she could understand as much as she could about what I was going through. So what that told me was, sometimes parents might seem mildly neglectful, but it's because they have so much to deal with as well. They might be willing, to go the extra mile, but they won't be able to. But that is not to say that tweet is accurate. That's not what I'm saying.
Bringing back, please tweet on the screen just in case y'all forgot what the tweet said.
When you told me about this tweet, I immediately thought maybe the person assumes that toxicity is always conscious.
True.
Right? Sometimes
I think that's what
exactly.
Maybe the only
Toxicity-
toxicity that they've heard is toxic relationships between intimate relationships. Then they think that's the only thing that's
Right.
there.
And I think the other thing is that there's so many levels to being toxic. Like here, like where I work, right? We always talk about black tax. And this is something that I always bring up. And to a certain extent, it's toxic.
Yeah, I
Where-
need to do a podcast on too.
So like just to kind of dive into it, because it is the thing. Family dynamics comes into your finances, it comes into your mental health, it comes into like so many different aspects of your life. And I was like, you have a situation where I was talking to one of my workmates and I was like, oh, it's time for you to buy a car, get married. I was like, because he's a bachelor, and I'm like, nah, you should get married, buy yourself a car, like, level up, we got a good job now. And he was like, as much as I'd want to do that, he's like, literally the minute my salary comes in, my brother's gonna call and ask for something. My mom's gonna be like, she needs this. My dad's gonna call and be like, he wants something else. Someone else is gonna call for something else. And I was like, I get it. I really understand that. Like, I hate to say this, but I think I'm allowed to say it because I'm black. But black families, I beg of you, let's stop the trend now. Let's allow our kids to enjoy their money
and flourish.
Like, give your children that time to flourish. I think sometimes in certain families, like, you're made to feel so bad that you've made it in life. And I don't want to say that you don't want to like sacrifice 90% of your salary, but like you want to have a chance. Like, let me breathe. Let me be in the moment of, wow, I've got a new job that's paying me in US dollars. So wow, I'm overseas now and I'm working, and give me the chance to get to like level 1, and then I can start offering help to like different family members according to my capacity at that moment.
Right.
Now when it's a thing that, oh, we saw Jordan on like TV now, so Jordan's making bank, so little sister's gonna rock up, or your older brother's gonna rock up and be like, fam, like, see me please. Like, I need help with this, I need money for that. And I think sometimes it then becomes, I think I'll say for myself, there's times where I felt like, okay, I want to help out my family, I want to support them, yes, I've got a good job now and everything, but there are times when I'm just like, can I just have a moment to enjoy my money?
Right.
Like, can I have a moment to do things for myself first, and then I can start thinking about, okay, how much can I contribute to like helping out my dad or helping out my mom? And especially when it's in a situation like my situation where my parents are divorced. We have Christmas is now 2 separate events where I know that on Christmas Eve I'm with my dad, Christmas Day I'm with my mom. These are financial things that go into it.
Right.
Like to now say to them, okay guys, I know y'all hate each other, but can we just like do one thing together so I can like reduce on my expenses? I don't have to travel half across Harare to go and visit my mom and then put the same smiles and excitement on my face, to go
to your dead side.
So yeah, I just feel like a lot of the times, especially with black families, I think that there's a lot of toxicity there. I think there are a lot of expectations on children. Firstborns, if you're an only son, there's a lot of expectation on you. If you're an only daughter, there's so much expectation on you, like, oh, you're 28, you should be married, why don't you have children? Why aren't you like, oh, you're an artist, why are you an artist? Why aren't you doing whatever with your life? There's so much pressure that we put on our kids that it makes it so hard for, the kids to like flourish in life and things like that. Yeah, but
And I also think it's because as children we have been told that you're a child, you get it. So we were never brought about the decision making, which school are you going to, what clothes are you wearing today, That's why I like, when the diaspora kids come through, it's amazing. They'll be like, no, auntie, I'm not wearing the blue top, I want the pink one. I'm like, okay, auntie, it's okay, I'm giving you your pink top, And then the one from the brother from I didn't know, you're just like, hey, wait, now you're wearing the yellow dress with the sunflower. They're like, oh, okay, auntie. You get it.
Yeah.
So I think that as our generation and those even younger than us, we also need to draw the boundary. Have the uncomfortable conversation, like, fam, so I ain't going to disclose my salary, but let me just tell you about my expenses. My rent is this much. My fuel or my combi money is this much. My grocery is this much. My hair and everything is this much. So from that, then I deduct from my salary. Then comes y'all people. You get it.
And that's how it handles
you
me.
get it. So I think boundaries have to be drawn and have the uncomfortable conversation. I'll tell my brother, oh, you want to do sport? Your mama's still there. How about she does the things that she used to do for me and my other siblings? You get it. Because my dad has this thing of randomly texting me, your brother needs data for an assignment. I'm like, fam, I need the data too, you know, for okay, for me it's not for an assignment, for Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah, but like it's your needs, guys.
You see? So I'm telling that we need to have the conversation. I used to feel so bad, you know, about telling my dad, but sometimes I was like, no, fam, you don't just walk up with a text or a phone call and you know, it's about money or anything like that. And my mom's side of the family are those ones. I'm sure they don't like me because I'm straight up with them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Yeah, honest people. My granddad is one I can look out to. I can afford to buy him some groceries every single month. But 1, 2, 3, 4, y'all uncles and your wives and your kids, I ask kiss. I'm not doing it. So the boundaries have to be drawn.
Yeah.
And we feel obliged. I'm like, no, my parents took me to school. Who was supposed to take me to school? They were supposed to. It's my damn right. You get it. And then if your uncle or your aunt is the one who took care of you, then they'll be like, you know, if it wasn't for me, Jordan wouldn't be where she is. Thank you, we appreciate it, but we did not force you.
Thank you.
But this now brings me to like family hierarchy, like where you have like, especially in an African culture, family where it's Bamkuru, my guru, Sekuru, and like how important is that, and like how does that affect you know, the internal family dynamics, like you know, in terms of decision making. I'll give an example. In our family, we had like every time there's a situation, if one of the children make a mistake or do something, then all the fathers are called together to like sit down and discuss and have a meeting. And I'm just like, okay, is it necessary for us to call the Bamkuru from like who we last saw 10 years ago? To like, you know, how important is family hierarchy in family dynamics and you know, solving, you know, family issues and things like that? Is it important to like do the whole thing of calling in all lines like an army where you have to report to the general, the lieutenant, the colonel?
Well, I have to say I'm mildly conflicted about that, because I do appreciate the value of having the input of a lot of people who have experienced things, but then what I don't appreciate is the direction that they take it from. And we can see it even with black tax. It really also factors into this hierarchy thing, because the direction of responsibility is backwards. Right? So kids are supposed to be responsible for the people that brought them to where they are now, instead of the other way around. If you bring a child into this world, you're responsible for them. And if that is the direction of responsibility, then that means my responsibility is to make as much money as I can, make a great life for myself, be happy, so when I have a child, I can take care of them, you know, mentally, emotionally, and financially. That should be my responsibility, the future. And your responsibility should be me, and so on and so forth, going backwards, right? But then we switch it around. And then when it comes to the decision-making process, we do exactly the same thing. They usually do what is best for the older people in the family. No. Ningi wants to be a photographer. Zen wants to be a photographer. That won't look good for the family, right? That won't look good for us. So let's sit down and talk about how we can make him stop that. It's not, what does Zen want? How do we make our child's life the best that it can be? How do we get this young photographer here from where he is to being a top photographer in the country, right? How do we give benefit to this person? No, that's not what it's about. So if it was about that, I would be in love with family hierarchy, because it would be sort of like a mechanism that is put in place to make sure that everybody in the family gets to express themselves as who they are, and they get to live wholesome and full lives. But instead, it's used as this oppressive system to scare you. You know, you get told.
Even those who invited that great uncle to come through, they even have things that they wish that the great uncle would not do. They're also oppressed, and they're just taking it to everyone. And everyone goes like, no, but on my wedding, they said I couldn't have 300 guests. I'm like, oh, okay, so now you want me to listen to him because you couldn't speak up to him? No, Sissy, I'm not doing it.
No, that's so true. Yeah. I think the next thing I kind of wanted us to just kind of look at is like mental health, like how toxic can like hectic family dynamics be to like your mental health and things like that.
You deserve a photo shoot every hour.
lights flash. Click, click, strike a pose. Oh, swag, drippy, drippy, click, strike a pose.